Very good morning, everybody. I'll start with agenda for today. We all agreed and we need to talk about Red Sea, enclosed space accident which happened recently. There's very little to talk about, unfortunately, at the moment because we haven't got information, but I'll anyhow raise that. Towing and mooring equipment, EU entry system, and very recent development, latest development on Boston and Synergy US Today article, which is now available in the main domain. Mark is going to be late if he can make it, and he sent me a message which he asks me to read to all of you. So here we go. It's from our president. Please circulate my view on the matter which I feel very strongly about. View on the Red Sea. InterManager is not generally a lobbyist association. It is an association which is intended to represent the interest of its members, primarily the managers. Those interests are of a professional and commercial nature. At the end of the day, we all hopefully want to do what we do in the right way, to the highest possible standard, and be successful in doing that. Our business is providing services to ship owners, those services being primarily of crewing and technical nature. Where we operate in the international arena for international clients of a political and religious persuasions, we must, if we are to thrive, be politically, religiously, and commercially agnostic. We should not grandstand our views on how we think owners and operators should operate, or with whom they should operate, or where they should operate, as long as such operations are lawful and do not expose the crew to unreasonable danger, having regard to the intrinsic dangers associated with seafaring. The methodology put forward by one of our members, which hopefully we'll discuss today, in order to assess the risks associated with the purported Red Sea transit or any other risk areas for the matter, is common amongst professional managers. We all have continual and detailed risk assessment performed, and we will not allow our crews to be exposed to unreasonable risks, period. With the above in mind, with all due respect, I do believe this is all we can do and should do. It is not for us to tell our clients what lawful business we think they should be doing. They do not expect that from the service providers or their service providers associations. If we go down this road, individually or as an association, we tread a dangerous judgmental path for what ends. That's from our presidents as an opening salvo, I would say, of our meeting on Red Sea today. I'm opening the floor. If there is anybody who would like to chip in, add things, please put your hand up because we've got quite a number of people, so I need to be a traffic warden. AJ, please go ahead.
Well, I heard that maybe not everything I could grasp immediately. So, what is our stand? Like, are we going to release any press statement with respect to your experience or with respect to, I mean, whatever we are doing or we want to do? Anything on that? What is the conclusion on that?
Okay, the conclusion will be after today's meeting, but basically, I believe, as a Secretary General of our association, I have been requested and asked questions from our members. So our members' expectations collide with each other, I'm afraid. There are some expectations which are inclusive and some which are not. So, AJ, to answer your question, it is expected from us, from some quarters of our association, to issue a statement which allows ship managers to waive it and use it, showing that they are just following the best industry practice. Now, the best industry is the ship management industry, not necessarily shipping industry. The reason I'm just highlighting it is that we are sometimes on the collision courses with ICS, which is the Owners Association. We could be on a collision course with some flag states and so on and so forth. When it comes to representing our crews or other interests. So it would be it is desired, I suppose, from some quarters to issue a press statement clearly defining what InterManager, as an association of ship and crew managers, believes would be the best industry practice. However, there are some other people who are saying then we should keep quiet and we should not rattle the cage. The situation is hot enough. It's inflamed, and therefore we shouldn't add any fuel, any petrol to the fuel, and keep quiet. And here we go. This is open for the discussion for those who are available today, and would give me a very clear instruction. Because in the end of the day, it is our association, we're a democratic organization, and I believe the majority rules here. So, over AJ, you've got a hand again.
Yes, just my if you remember this topic was initiated by me only. My request was after you shared your experience from ICS and that meeting. So the immediate intent or action needed was to share that what you experienced from them, what is their view and concern. We were, I mean, any of our press release was not directing or instructing what ship manager to do or not to do. But over during this course of discussion, even that was also scuttled. So I was wondering that as an intermanager, if we don't, I mean, voice our concern, or we don't voice something about it, then where do we stand? I mean, like keeping quiet is not an option. That was my point. Thanks, Kuba.
Okay, so AJ, obviously as an intermanager, I participate on your behalf in many organizational meetings, and I voice our opinion whenever I am mandated to do so. So I think we are being heard. We definitely express what Mark asked me to read to you, and that's our position at the moment. This is where we stand. Without naming organizations, unless this organization steps forward and wants to say something, said that we can use one of the modus operandi, the schedule which they have sent, which AJ you have seen, and it's a very good plan, which is being adhered by majority, probably with some tweaks there and here. But then there were some other members, and I have to say I was surprised, not necessarily the smallest members, who said, we are in between the iron and a hard board. Owners are asking us to do something which is against our own goals and objectives. What other members of InterManager do? How do they deal with situation when we are being asked to do something which we are very uncomfortable about? So that was another organization. And actually, this view has been represented or asked by at least three members, one of them substantial size. And they were actually pretty pushy, if I may use that word. They wanted all of us representatively express what the ship manager's position would be in order for them to actually put some more weight to their communication with the flag and the owners. Anybody else, please? Okay, that's not very helpful for me, to be perfectly honest, because I don't want to lead anywhere. I'm supposed to listen to your voices and your opinions. At the moment, we've got one opinion which I read from Mark, and it's clear opinion, and then we should rather be, well, I shouldn't translate this. The opinion of Mark is just read to you. Karen, I see your hand, please.
No, I was just thinking, like if it is a majority vote, like if everybody wanted a specific decision, would it be respected? It's like that as soon as everybody's in favor, at least majority is in favor, that would be the decision that we would come up with. Would that be okay for the entire group?
I don't think it ever is, because you can always distance yourself from the decisions, because at the moment the decisions are and basically the reality check every day is that a majority, I'm just careful now because I haven't checked the statistics recently, but there are owners and ship managers who do not go through the Red Sea, full stop, and there are some who do go through. And obviously, those who do go take lengthy process to assess the situation to ensure that nothing is happening. But I'm sorry, now I'm being devil's advocate now. Every ship which has been attacked, successfully attacked, says the same. We have assessed the situation, and we were under the impression that nothing will happen to us. Otherwise, they wouldn't be going there. So basically, their assessment failed. Now, the question is, do we have appetite to be one of those ships? What are we going to do? I'm trying to be provocative because I really want people to speak up. Yes, Ian, please.
You succeeded in provoking me, Kuba. It is not our decision as ship managers to make. We are here to facilitate the commercial trade of our customers. We provide them all the support, expertise, guidance, insight, intelligence, professionalism required to help them make that commercial decision. But ultimately, it's their commercial decision on where they trade their vessels.
Okay, very good. Anybody would like to stand for the crew managers and your position as a crew manager? Mike, please.
I'm not going to for the crew manager, but I will align with Ian. Our position as third-party manager, if our customers fix a cargo for Jeddah, okay, are we going to say no? Are we going to terminate? It's not. We are to provide the crew, and we provide safety, and we provide risk intelligence to make a proper decision to be made. There are owners that are very successfully managed to convince their charterers not to go through the Red Sea, and kudos to them. But there are some particular trades where transit in the Red Sea at some form, whether it's to service Jeddah, King Abdullah Port, Aqaba, etc., is unavoidable. So we have to mitigate the risks. Now, one thing that you said there, Kuba, about every risk assessment failed. Yes, technically you're correct. But also it would be interesting to see how many ships were attacked because of bad data held by private maritime companies. I can tell you with 100% certainty that our ship was attacked on the 6th of March because there are certain well-known private databases were saying that we were owned, our ship was owned by a very famous US private equity company, which was nonsense. So there's a lot involved here, and to be honest, if you're wanting a decision from my side, listening into the arguments, is that I don't think InterManager needs to say anything, because if you say InterManager membership position is not to transit through the Red Sea, well, the owners will find managers that will facilitate their trade. If InterManager says it's okay to transit through the Red Sea provided X, Y, and Z, the charters will come back to the owners and say the industry standard is it's okay to go through. So it's a lose-lose situation, and I don't think there's any need for any more public statements other than what's been made already.
Mike, you are loud and clear. Thank you. And if I may comment, I see AJ and then Ian again. Mike, I think it's one of my pet topics, talking to the ship managers from the times when I was managing ships myself, making sure that our public image is clean and clear. And very often I found that information held by third party about our business was incorrect. But it's my business to make sure that this is correct. So if somebody puts, especially when we were selling the ships, we sold the ship and we've forgotten to tell everybody, then it's not our ship anymore. Then ship runs aground and press says, Kuba Szymański's boat, blah, blah, blah. Well, if Kuba forgotten to tell the world, then it's not my ship anymore, then we can't really blame them for that. It's just my comment on what you said regarding third party holding wrong information about things.
I'll just clarify. On the 6th of March, Aquasis, Fairplay, Right Ship all held the correct data.
Okay.
So again, this was a very heated discussion at the last Marshall Islands MIQC here in Cyprus earlier this year. And it was a point that was not rubber stamped, but there was a lot of positive nodding from the representatives from the US Navy, Bahrain, that were also in attendance. So anyway, enough about that. We're going down a rabbit hole.
Indeed, well, it's a very, very valid point because it appeared as a reality. AJ.
Yeah, I think the question, what I understood from you about what companies are doing. I just wanted to tell everyone that we are not sending our ship from north or south anywhere. So none of our ships are going. We had a pressure from many owners, but we simply refused. And since then, we have not been pressurized again. And none of our ships have crossed even from Suez into Red Sea or from Gulf of Aden. That's all I wanted to share.
Excellent. Thank you. Ian?
I just want to, again, reiterate the sound of comments from Mike there, but I'd say it is not, I don't feel it is InterManager's place to have a position on this. What we can do is give our members best practice guidance and point them to what other members are doing or what the industry recommends. And for the record, V haven't invented the stuff we're doing. It is things that we have done around the industry for years, relying on things such as BMP5, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if InterManager or if you feel you need to do something, Kuba, then I think it would be to issue a set of best practices based on what other members are doing and what the industry is saying. But I do not feel it is InterManager's place to have a position on what we can and cannot do for our customers and their commercial trade.
Again, loud and clear. Karen?
I would just like to state our experience because there are several vessels that we send our crew and they have been captured passing through the Red Sea. And it was really a traumatic experience, not only for the crew members, but also on our part. Okay. Now, I would also agree with the suggestion that we just we don't actually come up with a statement that would ultimately stop the passing through the Red Sea. But however, just like what our other colleagues said, they have stopped because of the danger that they see. Okay. Again, if we just try to reiterate the best practices, I would agree to that. And perhaps we also should commend the companies that have been doing this because it protects not only their vessels, but also the people who man the vessels.
Okay. Ian?
Karen, it's a great comment, and I would fully endorse that because let's not forget our seafarers have rights. Our seafarers can put their hand up at pretty much any moment and say, I don't want to do this transit. And we are legally obliged to get them off and get them home. And we in V, we have landed and safely repatriated 100% of the seafarers on our vessels who have asked for that. So the seafarers have the right to put their hand up and say, I don't want to do this, I want to get home. And that, speaking quite openly, that is one of the big things that we have impressed upon those customers who want to transit the area, is that they are on the hook for the delays to cargo, delays to charters, and the costs of repatriating and replacing crew members who do not want to transit. And that is quite a big decision-making influencer in their thinking.
Thank you, Ian. Now, I'm trying how to reconcile that with what you and Mike said before, not to say anything, to not reignite the discussion with what I'm hearing now, that the statement...
But we're not. But InterManager isn't saying anything there, Kuba. That is a industry legal obligation. It's not a position. We're not taking a position on anything there. We're just simply pointing to what is legally entitled to our seafarers and is well published across the industry.
But silently, or are we actually now tomorrow issuing that kind of statement, which will probably come out of blue, and people will say, "Why are they talking about it?"
No. Let me be super clear. And this obviously needs to go back to the executive committee. I do not think that InterManager should make any statement.
Okay.
What we should do is publish a simple list of best practices to our members and say, these are our recommendations for best practice, safe operations, should you wish to facilitate transit.
Okay, understood. Thank you. Sebastian, you came on now. I wonder whether you want to say something because you're listening on the phone and then talking to us, or?
Yeah, first of all, let me apologize. I'm here with the ITIC people in Cyprus, but the matter is great that you raised it. For BSM, I can say we've written to all our customers, ensuring they know they're up to date with the dangers we perceive our crew is facing in the area. We made it very clear that we do not want any transits. We will, of course, consider any special circumstances, in which case, and that picks up where Ian was, we just exercise our contractual rights and say the reality is our crew has to consent. We are very cautious in asking each and every one. So we avoid any kind of blanket email saying, oh, well, if you don't speak up, we assume consent or so, but we're actually asking. And then we make sure our owners know the forecast cost of repatriation and delay. And I'm quite happy to disclose that the one or the other owner, when seeing the delay and also the expenses involved with it, has made other plans. I don't think we can really go further. I don't think we should go to the press with it. I think, like what Ian said, and probably people before him also, let's make sure that our members, who will all be aware of the dangers, that they also know the contractual instruments. We should, as trade association, avoid cartel, so we can't be seen in informing a sort of a joint position on what is ultimately a commercial issue through the contracts. But I think it's fine to say, guys, make sure you read the ship management agreements and this thing with the consent is in the best interest of our roommate. Let's make sure no one overlooks that.
Absolutely, loud and clear. Thank you for that. And I think we've got a very clear position now. I think everybody is sort of aligned now, even if at the very beginning of the discussion we had a different position. I think we are all into one, which states, and I'll recap so you know that I understood what you were saying. There is no need for any press release. There is no need to advertise our position. Internally, for the Ship Managers Association members, we should prepare industry best practices and circulate among ourselves. For those who have not been using it yet or are seeking to see what others are doing and so on. Sebastian, please.
Just to qualify what I said, you are free to talk to the press and make press statements on of course, on this cases all, and point out that the dangers inherent with the passage and work to increase the awareness and focus on the crew welfare, which some may overlook, seeing this as a war political issue. What I wanted to say is it's not necessary to throw out the inner workings of our ship management agreements in a press statement that would get lost. So I would leave it to you whether you want to do press statements. If you do, don't be so technical about them, I think.
No, but I sense the flaw, and the flaw basically says no. And if not asked, don't answer. So that's the position as a Secretary General, I understand I receive from you, ladies and gentlemen. And I pause for a second, giving a chance for the flaw to say that I misunderstood that and shouldn't go for that. No. Sebastian, you've got a hand up, but that's heritage hand, I suppose. Okay, talkie. Thank you. Okay, then I am closing the Red Sea issue for this meeting and moving on to another one. Just to remind everybody, then I have circulated EU entry system information. Some of you members came back highlighting the issues in particular which are of interest to you. I am encouraging you to send me more or if you've lost this original message, please come back and I will immediately send it again. Please pass this on to your HR departments or personal departments, because we really need to address that. We've got a chance. European Commission wants to talk to us. They want to see what is the problem with the regulation which is now invented and applied. So we've got a time, we can do that. I'll pause for a second. Anybody would like to add to it? Anything comment-wise? No. Moving on. Towing and mooring equipment. There is a new regulation which I have circulated. It came from our members who are rather unhappy about this regulation because it's very difficult to actually realize. So if you could, again, search messages from me, or if you don't know what message I'm talking about, I'm more than happy to resend to you. There is a brewing issue of towing and mooring equipment regulation, which now is circulated and is going to be implemented. So maybe if you could please talk to your marine technical departments and see whether they are happy. If they are not happy, this is the time we can now talk about that and make it the way we should be. I'll pause for a second again if there is anybody who would like to add. No. We had another enclosed space accident. 2 people died. It is on one of our members' ships. Very little information at the moment available, which is very interesting because within 7 days of any fatality, the flag state is supposed to report to IMO. There is no report on this accident yet, which is very interesting. Obviously, InterManager is the custodian of the safety statistics, and we are trying to get more information. Now, I think that ties up beautifully, unfortunately using the word beautifully, with the article which I have circulated to Executive Committee at the moment only from US Today regarding bridge accident about synergy. It's unbelievable what journalists dug out about the company to put the light and everything and spotlight basically on a ship manager. I believe it's a very interesting and important article to read and thinking, what if it wasn't synergy? What if it was me? Where would we stand with all of this? Opening the floor. Any comments? Anything InterManager should or should not be doing? Yes, Sebastian, please.
Yeah, I think the Dali's case serves as a good reminder that while we compete as ship managers, the reality is that the misfortune of one can very much affect the other one as well. So I think we all look to Baltimore and the litigation that will be forthcoming to see in how far the thing can taint the third-party ship management. Let's hope that it's not leading to the one or the other owner saying, okay, the business is exposing me to the degree that I have to bring it back in-house. However, there's little we can do. I think this mirrors also the sentiment I find here with the peers in ITIC, and everybody is closely watching this case. There was apparently a longer investigation report becoming available end of last week. I haven't seen it yet, but I think right now is still the phase where the press decides sort of how is this narrative going to go. There's heavy involvement by the FBI. So I think for InterManager, for the members, everybody should be ready with a press team if there exists ones and stand by to receive questions from journalists. I think your press article is exemplary. They will have called other ship managers as well for asking for comments. So I think we can almost prepare that this happens each and individually in our houses. And but at this point, I wouldn't say InterManager should put a press statement, because so far, unfortunately, there's not even much wrong information circulating. It's just negative. Huh?
Okay, Sebastian, no, obviously I hear you and I agree with you. The problem might be then if we are not proactive, then we might be caught. In a way, then it is sometimes better to educate some quarters of the general public what is ship management, how much we can do, how much we cannot do. Pradeep, I see your hand, please.
Thanks, Kilba. I think I think this is going to be a watershed case for ship managers in general, especially if the unseaworthiness claim happens to get proved. I think on a regulatory framework, what we should be looking at is to have discussions with IX about being clearer or having a document which says what things to be reported to class and trying to go to the root causes of the reasons based on my 30 years in ship management. Technical superintendents would not like to report something to class because the class requirements are very wide about, everything to do with class should be reported immediately, etc. And the reason why a vessel manager does not do it is that they try to repair it. They think it's solved, and hence they think there's no need to report it. And the commercial reason for it is that every visit of class is $2,000 or $3,000 gone out of the budget. So if we have the IX guidelines for reporting should be discussed and narrowed down to what really should be reported on a framework level. I mean, we already have the defect reporting requirements of every port state, and which are also very wide to say basically you should be reporting everything to the port, but that's pretty much it's not something that InterManager or anybody can change those things because that's IMO legislation. But for machinery items, if we could get a narrower definition into the rules of class, I think it will help the ship management industry to not get caught too easily about this blanket kind of a thing. Everything must be reported, because that's really difficult that managers are going to report everything in every port. I'm pretty sure that a very large number of reports would then have to be done. And I think this was highlighted also by Michael Gray in his very good article on the DALI. Thank you.
Thank you, Pradeep. AJ?
Yeah, what Pradeep has said is very right. At the same time, Sebastian's point is also very quite, I agree to that we should not be hurrying with the statement because too early to, comment anything and counter anything. But there should be some other platform where we should be able to, say something about third-party ship management. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Opening the floor for any other comments. Coco?
Hi, Cuba. And can you hear me okay? Yeah.
Loud and clear.
Yeah, sure. This is the kind of first attendant, really. It's really good to see that, and also good conversation going on and discussion. I just want to add a wee bit about the DALI case, where we all know, I mean, loss of proportion is not new to any of us in this room, and particularly also during the pilotage as well do happen. But it is what it is. What happened there in the wrong place in the wrong time and ended up in a disaster. So again, we don't want to make too much comment on it. The key thing is, all those technical failures are preventable, and of course, we need to look at a maintenance perspective, more of a preventative maintenance rather than keeping in a schedule as we normally do. And also, we do need, as a third-party manager, I think support from an owner is so important in terms of financial, setting budgets and everything else. So really, it's the whole, kind of how we manage ships need to be reviewed and make sure that we're not ended up in that kind of position. It's kind of easy to say for us here, but I think all need to chip in to contribute to make sure that we have a safe vessel, particularly in those restricted area or the area where it could possibly be ended up in that kind of disaster. So that's my kind of general comment. Thanks.
Thank you, Sebastian.
Yeah, I wanted to sort of go to a different topic, the IMO's MPEG 82 session with a heavy environmental agenda. And I give a shout out to you and Paddy and V-Ships, who also will be there in force or dialing in remotely following the discussions. I think it's great that InterManager keeps a very active eye on a regulation that will affect us down the line. I think to be quite critically in the European decarbonization rules, EU ETS and Fuel EU, we woke up in a way much too late when at a point where the charterers and the ship owners had done most of their lobbying. Only then did we sort of come on stage as InterManager and list out our arguments. So I think next week is a great chance to hear in which direction the IMO wants to go. Clearly for InterManager, for us ship managers, a fuel surcharge is the ICS proposal. Fuel surcharge is the obvious answer. Charterer, if you want to use a fuel that is viewed negatively, let's say HFO, etc., then you should just pay a higher price for it to be collected by the bunker supply network, just like gas stations with a car. Obviously, that has some challenges globally, but I think it's in our best interest to avoid that the administrative nightmare that the EU created with both EU ETS and Fuel EU regulations. These massive monitoring, verifying schemes that will keep just thousands of people busy administrating it. And also they have these certain weaknesses around the responsible entity. So it'll be highly interesting to see what IMO is up to. If it's discernible, please, Kuba and the participants from InterManager, keep an eye on who are the ones. Can we discern people with opinions? Because then we should reach out neutrally and friendly, but also provide our view on the item in the subsequent weeks, if not months, consistently to ensure that our views are at least, and good arguments are at least known. I've seen that Intercargo, for example, put out a press statement already saying, well, this is the way we see for this, and Kuba InterManager is absolutely free to do the same. I think we should actually, and we know we're a small player, small lobby, but there's no value in keeping our views hidden. To the contrary, let's after next week then put it also together in a press statement. But yeah, I wish you luck for these sessions. As I understand, some of you guys are there in person, so drink the coffees, have the cookies, and see sort of who's going where. Good luck.
Thank you, and thanks, Sebastian, for bringing it. Actually, for the first time, InterManager will have a representation of more than 10 people there. So I thank members who are physically attending. I'll be there, yes, in person. Paddy will be there, Gary will be there, but obviously members putting weight, it's very, very important, but also members learning how IMO works is extremely important from my point of view, and I believe everybody's. And you're more than welcome. For those of you who do not know that, we are NGO, non-governmental organization. Through the InterManager, you can have a seat in IMO. You can work in the working groups, drafting groups, and so on and so forth. So although as an NGO, we cannot, well, no, we can influence. I shouldn't say that because we are extremely successful with enclosed spaces legislation, for example. It took us a long time, but as Sebastian says, this particular issue we have addressed early, so we were not waiting. We were not surprised by anybody. We actually probably surprised others. With our statistics and everything, and we were able to put forward what is of the best interest of everybody in shipping industry, and we did manage. So I think this is a very good way. We know this modus operandi, and we are very happy to do that. And the same would be with MEPC now. Pradeep, go ahead.
No, I want to make a comment on the enclosed spaces, but I'll be guided whether you want me to do that now or later.
No, but go ahead, by all means, please.
Okay, so first thing, I mean, since you know that I've been asking a lot of questions to you about it, so first thing I would like to congratulate InterManager for really taking this issue up in the in IMO, and for the revisions of the 1050, which you all have been very influential. I just want to kind of urge that InterManager takes the lead further on finding the engineering solutions or pursuing those in the other committees in the so that and you know me long enough, and I think a lot of people here have been knowing me personally. I feel that administrative controls are only effective to a certain degree. And whatever we revise in 1050, which will be in MSC now 110, so that's a year from now. And even then, I've carefully read that draft 2-3 times. I don't see it making a dramatic difference in the same way as an engineering control could do. I mean, if you look at the inert gas issues and all the tanker industry initiatives over the years, it's the hardware solutions that have made reductions possible, right? Not administrative. So, of course, we need to revise 1050. We needed to improve it. I think the definitions are so much clearer now. And but the real progress would come only from the engineering ones. I am still reading the 40-page reports of IMRS, etc., on the engineering solutions, and I'll come back to you separately on it. But congratulations, and please continue on the hardware solutions. This is a topic that InterManager has a lot more knowledge than anyone else in the industry, and we should take the lead. Thank you.
And Pradeep, rest assured that this initiative with 1050/27 is only because it was obstructing our technical issues and so on and so forth. There is a wealth of information now which we are working parallelly. So IMO is parallel to other initiatives which are being progressed. And I'm more than happy to, if you haven't seen what OKIM has come up with recently, together with InterManager and other associations, but they do appreciate the fact that it was InterManager again who initiated it and is hot on the topic and is pursuing this issue. And obviously, we're very much the same on the lifeboats accidents and falls and trips, and very shortly on criminalization of seafarers, which I will most probably announce when we see each other next time, because this is now in the pipeline. I think that's all from me. It's 11:43. We've got 17 minutes if we need to, but we don't have to. Therefore, I'm opening the floor. If there is any other issue or you would like to make a comment to issues we have discussed, by all means, please. From my end, I will try to organize another 60-minute meeting, probably in a month's time, not in 2 weeks' time, because there is an issue which I haven't received enough information to create, and it will be about EU entry system, because that's of interest to our members, and thank you for those who already submitted comments, but I'm looking for more, especially then we do have access to commission. So please don't waste this. We can change things, we can influence them. AJ, please.
Just a quick reminder on Fuel EU. Sebastian had been updating everyone very regularly. So anything more latest on that? And one more point I have, yeah. Go ahead.
Fuel EU, yeah, I can say sort of I think that's how far the updating went. The mission to Brussels, meeting the regulator, a complete failure. So we have, as ship management, we really have all the arguments saying, look, it's not okay. It's probably not even legal to make us the responsible party in Fuel EU. It makes absolutely no sense. We're the facility managers, not the factory owners. And but the nature of the regulation such that it can't be changed quickly like they could with EU ETS, even if they're willing to. So we will, as ship manager, be the responsible party going forward. We work currently with the BIMCO subcommittee on the ship management clause for Fuel EU that is in draft stage still, and it follows a relatively predictable setup where the clause is clear in that owners. If there's a penalty to be paid from FuelEU, it's on owners. That's clear. There's all the usual rules in there regarding the reporting. So it says the ship manager is going to help with the monitoring plan, work out so what kind of energy consumption and fuels can be dealt with on that ship. And then we're also there, we will be responsible to report on the gas house intensity of the fuels used, but this is all inside our usual reporting, handling fuel, that's us. Being on the spot in the regulation, we will also have to be the ones working with the verifiers, making the reports to the EU. And unfortunately, however, we'll be limited to the ship management contract in recovering if there's penalties, these penalties from the owners. We make reference in the draft shipment clause that there maybe shall be financial security for this exposure, which is just like EU ETS. We will ask for, I'm sure, corporate guarantees, bank guarantees, cash advance. And just to round it out, putting us in the spot as the responsible party FuelEU is so wrong that it opens up the number of inconsistencies that we try to deal with in that clause. And one big one is, so a ship we hand back to its owners in February, let's say, under FuelEU, it'll take into March, April before the authorities and the verifiers assess is there going to be penalty or not, including banking, borrowing, pooling. So imagine we give back a ship in February, then it'll be April by the time anyone really knows what the penalty, if there's a penalty or what it's going to be. We will not have that ship anymore. We will not have a ship management contract with the owner, but we will still be in charge of paying that penalty because we were the responsible party by the end of the year. So that will trigger, and we will deal with that in that clause in some way. That means we will get to be able to hand back a ship in, let's say, February or anywhere between January to March. So we will have to get security or advance payment from the owner to let him have the ship back. So plentiful discussions ahead of us. I think all ship managers trading to Europe are well advised to increasingly read into it and understand it, because while EU ETS required the owners to come to us and say, well, you need to sign this mandate and be the responsible party, we could, just connect all kinds of conditions with it. Here we will have to go to our owners and say, you have to sign this new clause. It will also come with an additional price tag, of course. So yeah, we'll try to have that clause ready, but the way all these gremiums are working, it'll be some time. I can only say definitely this year, but also BIMCO doesn't really say what the timeline is supposed to be. Maybe, November, December, I would say.
Sure. Thanks, Sebastian. Look forward to further your flyers and update. I have one more point, Kuba, which is just an information and maybe applicable to managers, owners sitting here regarding MOHA. MMS has been allotted Spain, and we are still struggling, to get the MOHA open. Of course, they have received all the document, a lot of backlog. And just for information, and we have one more group company, which the EU party is Germany, and it's a really mess over there. And all the documents went, then they want this police certification for last so many years and all that. And in between, there was a digital signature issue, which later on they said, okay, you can put without that also. So this kind of information, have you received from any other parties also? How other companies, how they are handling or facing problem, and it's impossible to connect them on phone. It's just maybe it will add on into your database with respect to MOHA.
I think everybody is absolutely seriously disappointed by the EU putting an instrument in place and then being so slow and delayed with any sort of sensible administration. On EU ETS, I know I can say the German Ship Owners Association has wrote a furious letter to the state of Germany, looking at the implementing at the local implementing law. So mind you, EU ETS just a directive. So all these EU countries have to come up with local laws that sort of reflect the purpose of the directive. In VDR, when it said, look, you're even changing the nature of the beast here. In particular, the topic there is EU ETS directive says there has to be a mechanism under which a ship owner can claim from the charterer. That has to be in the law. And now suddenly in the local implementation of just one EU country, it's not a requirement anymore, but it's something that can be defined or even waived by contract. So I think it's fair to say it's a mess. It's good arguments for IMO, I think, to look at the fuel surcharge, which is so much admin lighter. I hope they do. I seriously hope they're not planning to roll out admin systems like this one to on a global scale. I would be hard pressed to see any sort of reason for it. But coming back to the MOHAs, RJ, everybody fights. I think we have in excess of 100 MOHAs to open, and we have, I think, 2 by now. Yeah, the trading accounts are different, but the MOHAs just last weeks it started to. I don't even know in which country, but some countries are starting to actually do it. It's weird.
Thanks, Sebastian. Cannot hear you.
Just to add on to what Sebastian was saying, we're still waiting for our MOHA to be open in Cyprus. Cyprus seems to be dragging its heels as well. We have applications in place for Spain, for Germany. The one country where we have successfully opened the MOHA is in Croatia. So that's the one country that has managed to get across the line relatively quickly. Germany, the Netherlands, forget it. They're months and months and months behind.
Very relieved to know that. I thought we are lagging behind, but is the case everywhere. Thank you.
No. To get around this, we've got a trading account opened here in Cyprus, and we're using the trading account in the short term, so we don't delay in collecting EUAs. We keep up to date with for our customers and their customers. But the MOHA, no, not yet. I think Cuba has left the call, so it must be time up, is it?
Yeah, then the honor is on you to say some closing remarks and
I'll say some kind, heartfelt words. Then, well, thank you very much, everybody, for turning up. A jam-packed call, and speak to you again in a month's time. All the best, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, everyone. Okay,
bye. Bye.
Nice meeting up on team. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.